I'm Stephen Mirasu, the sixth generation winemaker for the Lineage Wine Company.
I'm Aiden Mirasu. I am one of the 3 members of the very small Lineage winemaking team.
I am Beth Ruff-Snyder, and I have the awesome opportunity to be the production assistant for Lineage Wine Company.
My family is the oldest winemaking family in the country. We've been making wine in California since 1854. So 6 years before Abraham Lincoln was president, my great-great-great-grandfather was making wine in San Jose. I went off to college vowing that I would never get into the wine business. At least my father tells me that that's what I said. And when I got back to California, after spending 10 years on the East Coast, going to college and graduate school, I did get back into the business. It was a surprise to me as well. I got back into the business because what we get an opportunity to do is to make people's lives richer, to use wine as a vehicle to express our own creativity, and to use wine as a vehicle for cementing relationships, giving people an opportunity to meet new people over wine, to celebrate marriages, to celebrate lives, to celebrate newborns, to memorialize people who have passed. Wine's a very important thing. It's a social lubricant, but it's also one of those things that ties people together, and that's why it's important to me. The idea that someone comes into my tasting room in Livermore and has a chance to try Lineage and it changes his or her life in even a small way is a very humbling thing to me. It's what we work very hard to do, my winemaking team and I. It's what we spend a lot of time thinking about. I obsess over this desire to bring richness and joy to people's lives. It's the purpose of our company.
It's so fabulous to work for Lineage Wine Company because it's not just let's make another wine or let's make a wine to be this or to be this. Lineage, to me, and from my understanding of everything that Stephen has told me and that Aiden and I have worked on, is the main goal, the only goal, is to make one of the very best wines in the whole world.
If I had to describe what Lineage is to somebody, I think I could talk about it for a fair while, but the short version of it would be that Lineage is a quest to make one of the best wines in the world, to share the joy that that brings to anybody that will take a second to listen to us.
My first vintage of Lineage was made in 2007. We had a great crop. We had amazing fruit. All the Bordeaux varieties were doing what they were supposed to do, and I had a chance to sit alone in my cellar and put together a blend over the course of about 18 months. And when I was done with that, I realized that the Livermore Valley really is one of those magical places that offers a winemaker the opportunity to shoot for the very best. And that's what our mission from a winemaking standpoint is. We are here to make a wine that can be compared favorably to the best Bordeaux blends in the world.
I've been part of the production for Stephen Kent and Lineage since 2014 would have been my first harvest. I was part of the Lineage blending team since the 2015 vintage.
2018 was my first harvest, but this past many months we've been going through the blending for the 2017 Lineage, which has been fascinating and lengthy and just incredible to be a part of. There are no details that are left behind on this. We taste through every single barrel in the entire cellar. My job is pretty cool because I get to pull all the samples and get to be involved in everything. What's really cool about being involved in Lineage blending is that we started in early February and we just a couple weeks ago finished, which was late July, maybe early August. That's how long it takes to put together a blend like Lineage. It's just so many different facets of going back and going, well, what about this and what can this bring to it, and what about let's go back and try this different 7-barrel blend, and what each different Bordeaux variety brings to the whole overall blend is just fascinating. You change 2% here and there and it's a completely different wine, and that's been really interesting to me, to just see how much goes into creating a wine like Lineage. It's not something that's just quickly done and thought about. It's very, very meticulous and time consuming and takes a lot of discussion and learning about what type of wines we're up against.
Lineage started out, the idea behind it being one of the best Bordeaux blends produced in the world. So you kind of already narrowed down the things that you're working with. But from vintage to vintage, some components, some varieties are going to show better than others. And we've learned a lot going through this, that you don't just stick whatever in there because it creates some kind of story or narrative. You pick the best of the best. So from vintage to vintage, that might be anywhere from 50% Cabernet Sauvignon to 80% Cabernet Sauvignon to 35% Cab Franc to 5% Cab Franc. You never want to get stuck in a position where you're thinking that you know the direction things are going to go before you're really in those blending sessions 2 years after you've picked things, a year after you've picked things. You go in with an open mind.
We had the opportunity to taste Albiron, and we also had Chateau Palmer, and these are the wines that we're looking at competing against, and not necessarily competing against, but wanting to recreate, but in a Livermore sense. These are wines that are going to be, our wine would be the best in the world that we can create, that is along with these other Bordeaux wines Bordeaux blends that are seen as the best of the best in the whole world, that people it changes their lives when they taste these wines, and that's what we're trying to create with Lineage as well.
To be the person to take on the mantle, I guess, after my dad is daunting, to say the least. To be a part of a family business, to be a part of a family mission, even more so, is something that is so special and hard to describe to people sometimes.
Every year I get older, every year another vintage passes, and I realize that there are more vintages behind me than there are in front of me. And because I have a competitive streak, and because I realize that you never know when that end might come, it doesn't make any sense trying to make wines that are okay, wines that are good, wines that are even excellent. We have an opportunity here because of the natural conditions of the vineyards in Livermore and because of the passion of our winemaking team to make something that is great, something that is life-changing, something that is worthy of age, worthy of attention, worthy of love. And because of that, and because of my love of drinking wine, my love of being around people who love to drink wine, we're working with a real focus to make sure that the Lineage Wine Company produces one of the great wines in the world, and that every year we can come to you as collectors of our wines with pride, with our heads held up high as we present to you what we hope is another vintage of something spectacular.
We're so happy and so proud to be, sharing this 10th vintage of this project and this mission with you guys, with our faithful club members and collectors that have believed in us from the beginning, that we appreciate so much. And we hope that this mission continues, forever, as long as we can make it go. And that if we've done our job right, that we've imparted that passion to our family members to keep that going. So thank you.
So thank you for being part of Lineage Wine Company. Thank you for going on this journey with us. Thank you for being a lover of things that are about the senses, about experiences. Thanks very much.